Night, holy night, na, na, na. Obviously, I'm not a good singer. Words cannot describe what I was thinking when I first saw this movie. You see, when I first watched this movie, I was under the impression that it was going to be a shit movie, which of course it is. Uh, it's the B movie, obviously. Now, first of all, before I continue, obviously I haven't seen every movie on the planet. So every once in a while, I'll go and dig deep and try to find something. I was trying to find something juicy for this holiday. So instead of finding Christmas movies, I decided to find Christmas movies that had horror elements in it. So, horror elements, not horror elements, you get what I mean. So, and then I found Silent Night, and I found a bunch of other movies. But this one, particularly, I want to talk about, because this movie is so bad that it's good. I want to watch this movie again. I had a thrill ride watching this movie. Words cannot... Hold on. My mouth is a little dry, so I have to... Words cannot describe like what I was thinking when I first watched this movie. So, first of all, let me explain. This is a movie about... Well, the best way I can explain it is that a kid goes through this traumatic experience on Christmas where his whole family is murdered. And this movie is basically about somebody just really misunderstanding the point of Christmas and the point of Santa Claus. You know. And there's an awesome line in this movie where the main character keeps saying, "Naughty!" with the axe before he kills somebody. Spoiler alert. And, oh yeah, so my reviews mainly have a lot of spoiler elements into it, so I'm not going to hold back and say this is a non-spoiler review, so you might as well click off if you want to watch this movie first before coming back here to have a discussion. And I'm more than willing to have a discussion with anyone in the comment section about this movie. So, first of all, there's a lot of nudity in this movie. Like, more nudity than I thought there would be. And... hey ladies, I have a question for you. I just had this one question. Have you ever in your life answered the front door topless? I'm being straightforward here because this happens in this movie. There's a scene where the guy who's playing Santa Claus knocks on the front door and she wonders who it is. She's actually looking for her dog. So she goes in the front door, opens it topless, and looks around. Now, that is a very cliche horror movie element. In horror movies such as this, like most horror movies, and especially the production companies that run them, have this idea that it's okay to have nudity in your horror films because that's what it is. It's a horror film, and you know, every horror movie is basically the same. So this movie has a lot of cliche horror movie elements. But also, this movie... kind of takes a while to get to the point, which is where the main character goes crazy and decides to go, nuts on Christmas and starts killing people as Santa Claus. But they could have easily edited out at least 30 minutes of this movie, but I guess they wanted to make it 90 minutes long because the climax of the film where he actually goes and kills people was actually kind of short. But, okay, also I have another question for the ladies out there. There are some scenes in this movie that are somewhat baffling. And one scene in particular, this girl is basically getting raped by a guy in this movie, right? Like, he's brutally raping her. On top of her, she keeps saying no, 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 no. And so, our main character, who should have been the hero in the scene, goes and kills that guy, saving her. And she accuses him of, being a bad guy, crazy, blah, 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 blah. It's so out of left field. Now, I just have a question. If you're being raped, and someone decides to go and save you from the rapist and kills the rapist, are you really going to be mad? Because I feel like this movie gives the wrong impression in that aspect. It really does. On top of that, this movie has nuns having intercourse with somebody. It has a particular scene where a nun goes to have sex with a young man. Not like a teenage young man, not like, like young. But, and there is a very cliche evil nun in this movie that's very harsh on the kids and takes it out, and particularly on our main character who had a traumatized experience of having his whole family brutalized on Christmas. And not taking into account that, oh, I want you to go sit on Santa's lap. Don't freak out. No. Just because he's wearing a Santa outfit, no, don't do that. And she hits him, beats him for it. Not taking into account that, hey, this guy has been through some shit. And you're going to force him to go do the one thing that he had a traumatized experience on. Bitch, you don't need to be A, you don't need to be a nun. B, you don't need to be taking care of children. Because you just fucking suck at life. And I have no sympathy for people that are actually like that. Because there are people like that. Most likely. I haven't actually ran into them yet, but... So yeah, this movie takes a little while to get to the point. At least the first 10 minutes, it shows the Santa Claus goes and kills his entire family in front of him. One thing that I'm confused about in this movie is that at the beginning, when the bad guy Santa Claus is actually just a robber in a Santa Claus costume, and he shoots this store clerk at the beginning before going robbing the main character's family and raping his mom and killing his dad. But there's a baby in the back of the car. And it's never once stated throughout the whole movie what happens to this baby. I guess it's hinted that this baby got separated and got sent to an orphanage, but we never see this baby again. But this baby is okay at the end of in this particular scene. And so that could have been it. We could have seen the experience of his family being brutally murdered by a guy in a Santa Claus outfit, and then flash forward 20 years later, a guy in a Santa Claus outfit goes and kills a bunch of people on Christmas, and turns out to be the little boy who had that experience. But no, we have 30 minutes of this movie, of us seeing this kid grow up and dealing with this traumatized experience, and dealing with this nun, and, eventually growing up and becoming a very strange adult. Like, when you first see him, he has this particular smile. Like, he's just like that the whole movie. And for some reason, the main character reminds me of Steve Crowder, a Louder Crowder, that YouTuber, the Change My Mind guy. I don't know if I say his name right, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going to go do a Google search real quick. But for some reason, he reminds me of him when he wears the Santa Claus outfit. And immediately, when you see him as an adult, he already gives off this vibe that there's something fucking wrong with this kid. Like, there's something fucking wrong with this guy. He shouldn't have a job, and he shouldn't be around people. Like, he's not particularly aggressive. He's just weird. He's, like, too kind, too happy. You ever meet someone who's way too nice, and you think that there's something off about this person? Like, maybe they could, like, pull out a knife, and maybe they want to take you out back somewhere and shoot you in the face or something. So, he gives off that type of vibe. And, I feel for this main character throughout the whole movie. I really feel for him, and I feel somewhat sorry for him, even though he commits these horrible acts at the end of the movie. But, like, I felt like this guy needed a friend. Like, he just needed a real friend. He just had nuns taking care of him his whole life, and people treating him like he's weird. But in that particular instance, someone who's been through that experience, I really feel like they just need a friend to tell them it's okay. Like, you don't have to freak out about this. And, like I said, I was just sympathizing with the main character. And then he goes off and kills a bunch of people at the end of the movie. But, to be fair, he's only killing bad people who were supposedly naughty on Christmas. But at the same time, he also ends up killing his boss that gave him a job and the rest of his store's employees. So, that kind of defeats the entire purpose of that. So I just now realized that. But he ends up working at this store that sells Christmas gifts on Christmas Eve, and he ends up like just snapping. Like, all these years of the traumatized as a kid and being with the insane nun, he just snaps. He wears a Santa Claus outfit for some kids, and then he witnesses a guy raping a girl, and that's when he snaps. He kills the guy, and then the girl accuses him of being a bad guy, and then he kills the girl, and then he kills the rest of the store employees. And then he goes off around town on this tangent, just knocking on people's doors, looking for bad people. And there's one particular scene that I thought worked really well. He walks up to this little girl and asks her if she's been naughty. And at first, it's kind of an intense scene, but you get this vibe that he's actually not going to do anything to this girl because she's a little girl. She hasn't actually done anything wrong. Or else the other characters that died either had alcohol problems or were adulterers or something that would be considered immoral on Christmas in a Christian value type sense. And there's also one particular kill. Every single horror movie has a particular kill that's memorable. And this one girl, the same girl that's topless, she gets impaled on these reindeer antlers. And I think I've actually seen this before, like in pictures when looking at Halloween or Christmas scary stuff. And yeah, she gets impaled on these antlers by this character. And it's such a memorable kill in the movie. And it's the one that sticks out to me the most. And my problem with this movie's characters is mainly with the police. Is that they're going around town basically shooting up Santas because they're looking for the particular guy wearing a Santa Claus outfit slaughtering a bunch of people. And these cops basically suck at their job. They suck at their job. They shoot one Santa and nearly shoot another who was just saying hi to his little girl in a Santa Claus outfit. Like, I understand they're looking for a guy in a Santa Claus outfit, but they need to make sure and identify who the person they're actually about to shoot, or I'm just not sure how that works, but there's definitely better ways that these cops could have gone about it in this movie. Definitely. So, what other things can I say about this movie that hasn't already been said? So, I've been watching a bunch of Christmas horror movies, and there's even one that I watched recently. It's actually called a Christmas Story, a horror story, something like that. And I'm going to review that next in just a minute. But that one had higher production value. But the story to that one wasn't as particularly interesting as this one. This one is a B movie with low production value and no saving grace whatsoever. But yet, I enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed it for what it was. It had lower production value and it was a B movie. And I enjoyed the fuck out of it. I enjoyed its ridiculousness. I enjoyed its ridiculous themes. It's about a guy who's freaking out over Christmas. It's about a guy who misunderstands Christmas. And he decides to go out one day and he just snaps and just goes around going, "Oh, you've been naughty!" And then there's the ending of this movie that's particularly so left field. It's so out there. Sometimes movies do this, where the movie has a constant theme and continuity, but then there's a one particular scene in a horror movie that just stands out, and that's the ending, is where our main character basically, he gets shot by the police. Not the police. He gets shot by one of the nuns. I don't remember. Well, he got shot, right before he's about to kill the main nun that abused him when he was a kid. And obviously, he's about to kill this nun in front of all these children. But after he gets shot, she basically nods and says, "Well, it was the right thing to do." And one of the kids looks at her and says, "Naughty." And that's to indicate that this kid's going to grow up and do the same thing as our main character. So, if I gave the movie a scale of 1 to 10, I give it... Oh my god, this is hard, because I don't want to say this is a horrible movie, even though it is. And I know no one really talks about this movie, and no one really cares about this movie, but I care about this movie now. And it's going to go down as one of my favorites. And I know there's a Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, and I'm going to watch that real soon when I get the chance, but... 1 to 10. I give it about a 6. I'm going to say 7, but I have to give it a 6 because, like I said, this movie is not particularly good. It's not particularly bad. It doesn't have great production value, but it has an intriguing story. And there's some ridiculousness to this movie. It's definitely not one of the greatest horror movies ever made. It does have a lot of ridiculousness about it, but so does every horror movie. This movie is a giant horror movie cliche within itself. Like, I felt when I watched this movie, it wasn't taking itself too seriously. And that's why I liked it. Like, the movie knew that it was ridiculous. Like, the movie knew that this movie was going to be a joke. You could tell the people that made this movie enjoyed what they were doing. They enjoyed the experience of making this movie. And that's why I like this movie. You could just tell from the performance, from the camera angles, and just the overall story, that these people actually probably had fun making this movie, because I knew how ridiculous it was gonna be. So, yeah, I give this movie about a 6. It's definitely not a 7. A 6, a 7 being a mediocre good movie, but anywhere a 6 down below is a bad movie. But I can't necessarily say that this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen, because it's clearly not. It's clearly not one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I enjoyed this movie, and I would rewatch it again. So I would give it a rewatchable value. It's something that you're gonna have to watch like once a year. In that transition between Halloween and Christmas. So this is a November-ish type movie. Now, there's something else that has been kind of bothering me. I've actually been doing some research and trying to find movies that were released on Christmas or in December. And you know what the ironic part is? Is that most Christmas movies were released in November, not on Christmas. And I find that kind of strange. Maybe that's to prepare people for the holidays, prepare people's paychecks. Because in a way, Christmas is a giant economic sale. That's what it is. It's a cash grab. It's to get people to go out and spend money. That's what Christmas is. It's commercialized, basically. And so I found it kind of strange that when I was going out purposely looking for movies that were released in December, that I couldn't. So, yeah, I give this movie a 6. Also, I give it a rewatchable value. And if I could, I would give it my official Matthew Scooby stamp of approval as one movie I would enjoy for years to come. Guys, this is Matthew Scooby. Thank you for listening to my rants, my opinion. Thank you for supporting my channel. And also, if you guys can get a chance, give me a like or subscribe to my channel, because, my channel is really small, and I enjoy the more viewers that I get as days go by. Guys, I'll see you later. Peace out.